A news which made headlines in India. India's Vice President Venkaiah Naidu, he's also chairman of Rajya Sabha, has rejected the opposition's notice for impeachment of India's top judge, Chief Justice of India, Deepak Misra. Vice President Naidu consulted India's Attorney General, two former Supreme Court judges and other senior officials before rejecting the motion. Leaders of opposition parties led by Indian National Congress handed a notice of impeachment against Chief Justice of India, Deepak Misra. In the impeachment notice, there were 5 allegations against the Chief Justice, Deepak Misra, including abusing his administrative authority. This is the first time in India there has been a motion to impeach the top judge.
The President, as chairman of the Rajya Sabha, has exercised his constitutional jurisdiction and has taken a particular view. Let me tell you, it has been clarified on more occasions than one that the impeachment motion was not moved after the lawyer decision. The impeachment motion was a work in progress for several weeks. I think a time has come when we should put a quietus to this. But of course, it is for those MPs who signed the motion to decide.
So the rejection of the impeachment motion by the Vice President is in terms of law. So this is an office of the Vice President. An Honourable Vice President has applied his mind to the facts of the matter, to the allegations and accusations, and applied the law. And in terms of that, has rejected the petition.
We find the order constitutionally and legally flawed. He's gone into the merits of the allegation without an inquiry, without an investigation, which in law doesn't happen. I don't know why he didn't consult Supreme Court on this issue, because consulting retired people or law officers or editors and journalists or reading editorials is not the right material. The right material would have been to speak to the judges of the Supreme Court and maybe come to a considered conclusion after that.
And I'm joined by my colleague Jessica Taneja on this story. Jessica, tell me, the Congress is talking about taking this issue to the Supreme Court. Is it legally permissible, one? And secondly, what happens when it goes to the court? Which court does it go to? Does it go to the Chief Justice Court, the Court of the Chief Justice of India? Whose court does it go through?
Well, Karthikeya, exactly. That's the trick question that was posed to Kapil Sibal, the senior Congress leader, as well as the lawyer who will be representing and making a judicial review of this order passed by the rejection order that has come out from the chairman of the Upper House and also the Vice President of India, Venkaiah Naidu. When one questioned him whether this will go to the CJI, he said it will be ideal if the Chief Justice didn't hear it. He recused it. Of course, it goes to the other 4 judges. Understand that the other 4 judges, second senior more judges, are also in conflict of interest here, because if you've seen the 5 pointers on basis on which the opposition united and moved an impeachment motion against the CJI Deepak Misra was also the fact that the 4 judges were unhappy, and they had reflected a lot on how the internal rift within the judiciary is reflecting and is tainting democracy. So when asked about that, senior Congress leader Kapil Sibal also said that of course it will be ideal if he doesn't sit, but if you look at the process, it first, if not the CJI, then the next senior 4 judges were apparently the 4 judges who had come out and done that PC. And the possibility is, because they are filing a petition which as per the press conference that we heard from the senior Congress leaders, they will be taking it to the court, but then it will be heard by Justice Sikri, which is the 6th bench onwards. So I mean, that will be the higher up in the judiciary bench. So that is where it will go. But yes, we've been told and it's confirmed that they are moving apex court against this order.
Jessica, before I let go of you, is it going to be like when the whole issue of master of the roster came up, in the same bench where CJI was present, but the other judge who was sitting next to him threw the petition out and said that no, the master of the ceremony, master of the roster indeed remains the Chief Justice of the country?
Absolutely, Karthikeya. That goes back to the Supreme Court rule books, in fact, interestingly, because that is what establishes the rule in the Supreme Court, which gives the authority to the Chief Justice to form a constitution bench. Now, senior judges can refer a matter to a constitution bench, but they cannot form the constituents of the bench or which judge will be part of which bench. So, of course, that also created a lot of ripples and controversies. What we thought was actually, Supreme Court gossip in fact turned out to be true when the judges came up front and said that he's one among equals. He's the master of the roster, but he's one among equals. Those were strong, blatant words. And if you remember when the whole Prashant Bhushan mentioning for the CJI to recuse himself from the Prasad Trust education case, the order had gone to Chilameshwar, and then the whole fiasco happened in court, and when Court 8 delivered the fact, and it clearly gave it an order, and I quote, it says, no one can judge the judges. So, of course, that has been brewing up. There's been a concoction of confusion and authoritarian sort of build-up inside the apex court, but of course, if you ask the normal public, if you ask, as has been speaking to legal luminaries as well as people of outside courtrooms, they say that judiciary should have been protected in a much better way, because people eventually would knock the court's doors, and this whole, unprecedented press conference, the whole impeachment motion being moved against the CJI has just sort of increased more and more scrutiny towards the apex court and has weakened the judiciary in front of the people.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you for this update. One has to see how this matter turns out in the Supreme Court tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Now,